Today I want to talk about the COVID cancellation of number 1 Alabama versus LSU and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about the cancellation of number 1 Alabama at LSU for what was looking to be a revenge game of epic proportions for Alabama after they took an L in Tuscaloosa via Joe Burrow and the 2019 LSU Tigers that went 15-0 and I believe are one of the best college football teams of all time, if not the greatest of all time, up there with 1945 Army, 1995 Nebraska, and 2018 Clemson. For LSU, this is really, really upsetting. Number one, you lose a game, right? Nobody wants to lose a game because the whole reason that so many people want to see college football played this year is for the money coming in. So many schools, LSU included, lost money when they did not get to play in their respective conference basketball championships, men's basketball championships, the ones that generate money, lost their baseball seasons, lost the NCAA tournament, and on the list goes. All while Ed Orgeron got an enormous raise, making him one of the highest paid college football coaches in America. At the time, everybody believed that he deserved that money. And boy, would he ever have to earn it in 2020. They lost 34 players off of that 2019 team. Among them, Jamar Chase, the reigning Biletnikoff Award winner and the Heisman Trophy winner in Joe Burrow, along with an offensive line that won a Joe Moore Award, a Paycom Jim Thorpe Award winner in Grant Delpit, and on the list goes, right? Patrick Queen was tremendous for them. Jacob Phillips was tremendous for them. Tyler Shelvin decides to opt out. You lose Kerry Vincent as well. So you're already thin. You're in the low 70s to high 60s on your scholarship distribution chart. And then COVID. At one point, Ed Orgeron tells us back in September that he thought everybody on his football team had caught COVID-19 at one time or another, like it was not a big deal. And yet, and still, one of the things that I find to be interesting is I have preached being very, very careful about what we do and how we do it in the age of COVID-19, to which people are making fun of me in the comments because I want college football to be safe, and things like having 10,000 people storm the field at Notre Dame does not make it safe. To say nothing of Louisiana has been one of the more lax states, like my state of Oklahoma, in regard to COVID-19 and just wearing masks. Then last week, we get news that during a bye week, LSU had players that contracted COVID-19. It's as few as 5, but when you take into account the contact tracing that has to go on among those 5 players that are in pods, that are tight ends, quarterbacks, wide receivers, but also have to mingle with each other during team period. And oh, by the way, they go to class. Well, they don't go to class. They mingle with each other outside of the facilities. You can see how the contact tracing numbers get up there really quick. The SEC instituted a rule to start this season to say that you had to have 53 scholarship players available and so many offensive linemen, quarterbacks to play the game against any other SEC opponent. We saw Vanderbilt flirt with this very closely and end up losing a game and then losing a game, right? Then we saw LSU lose this game against Alabama, which promised to probably be their biggest of the season because Alabama is on a road to a college football playoff national championship. Baton Rouge loves to play Alabama, and Alabama fans really wanted to see that game played as well. It was going to be in prime time, and that was going to be a very big deal. But that game was gone, which means that LSU had one game at Tiger Stadium in September, one game at Tiger Stadium in October, and is staring at no games in Tiger Stadium in November, on top of having to already make up the game against Florida in that week that they had put aside to make up games. And while they're searching for a date to try to get this Alabama game played, it does not look like they're going to find a date that gets that Alabama game played. And I'm not so sure that you wanted to see it played, right? Like, LSU went into this game as a 23-point dog, and it was only growing larger as news about the COVID-19 situation began to spread. There's an operative word there. And you also know that Mac Jones is playing on the level of Joe Burrow this season. Like, his story is not that of Joe Burrow's, but his story is one of a guy that was overlooked to play quarterback, of a guy nobody thought was going to be the starting quarterback, and then a guy who is absolutely putting up ridiculous numbers. Like, through 6 games, he's thrown for more yardage than Joe Burrow, if not more TDs, but just right in line with the number of TDs that he has thrown, as along with the interceptions as well. And I would say that he's doing it without the parts that Joe Burrow had. Joe Burrow had Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, Thad Moss, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire before we even start talking about Justin Jefferson. Mac Jones has got, of course, we know about Devontae Smith, but he lost Jalen Waddle, who was there for, a good portion of this season. He's raised up John Mechie III, and he's also got Slade Bolton, and Najee Harris has been carrying the mail for them in the back, but only thing he has that Tua Tagovailoa didn't have last year, and quite frankly, the thing he has this year that Joe Burrow had last year is a bend but don't break defense that's finding its way, right? After getting just destroyed by Ole Miss, looks like Pete Golding got a hold of the defense, and they've started to play the kind of defense that has become synonymous with Alabama football. Now it's about, can you finish? And I've been amazed at how Tuscaloosa, in particular, the University of Alabama football team, has kept a lid on this COVID-19 thing. Like, the most high-profile person to catch it also got to coach that same weekend that he caught it. Nick Saban, right? They found a way. They quarantined him. They were able to get him away, and he was able to get on the sideline and then coach a game in which they beat Georgia. It's a remarkable thing what Alabama's been able to do. So if you're looking for somebody in the South to follow, perhaps it's Alabama, because we've seen Florida lose a game, LSU lose a game, and on and on and on the list goes, right? Arkansas coach Sam Pittman picked up the COVID earlier this week. And now we got Ed Orgeron not only staring at losing one of the biggest games on his calendar this year, but not really being able to salvage this season that I'm sure LSU fans can't wait for them to get over with. But you know what? Perhaps LSU fans, you have dodged a bullet. Why? Because you might not catch the 5 losses that I told you were going to catch because you decided to go and cancel the football game. That's it for me. Doses.